Hey, what's up, leaders? Hope you guys are having an awesome time. Me and Brent here. Listen, we know that a lot of you guys were kind of struggling to be able to make the meeting this Sunday. We know it was going to be difficult for our Fleming campus, our St. Augustine campus, and our River City campus to make it back to the Mandarin campus. And so we wanted to save you guys some time, try and respect your guys' time. And so we're going to put together this little video.
Well, let's be honest, your couch is really comfy.
And so is this one.
So here we are.
So yeah.
But hey, we are so excited about this year's winter retreat. Not only about being able to combine middle school and high school, to have those two age groups aligned, but we are excited about the theme. And the theme this year is Jonah. And you guys have probably heard the story of Jonah a million times. And a lot of times we overlook the story of Jonah because we think, oh, it's just a cute little story about a man that gets eaten by a whale. But when you look deeper at the story, we can see a little of Jonah in all of us, and how we can be so selfish in our faith, and how we can just be focused on ourselves and not on other people. And that's not the God that we worship. Our God loves even the least of those, and we should never stand in the way of being the ones that are judging people or being in the way of people coming to Jesus and hearing about Jesus. And so it's gonna be a great weekend where we can just address how selfish we can be sometimes in our faith. So
yeah, we're really excited. Been planning this curriculum for a long time. Been talking about this theme for a long time. So excited that we're just a couple of weeks away now.
And as we go through this video, I just want you to know this meeting on video that if you miss anything, the nice thing is you can rewind. But also we are going to have we're going to send out this in an email, and we're going to send out a bunch of content where if you have a question, you can go back through the comments or through the stuff that we attached to the email. But also contact us. That's what we're here for. So contact Justin, contact me if you have questions about anything that we talk about today.
And feel free to contact your campus students pastor. They know everything that we know. They can answer any question that we can. As we're down there at the camp, probably main point of contact will be me or Brent or Clayton Alvarez. We're gonna try and free Wes up as much as we can. If you don't know, Wes just had their baby. Megan just had their baby. Wes did not have their baby. But they just had their baby, and so we're going to try and keep them as free as they can. We know this is a huge time, crucial time for them. So we'll be kind of point of contacts down there once we get to winter retreat. But leading up to it, by all means, reach out to Wes for Fleming Island. Reach out to Tyler for St. Augustine, Clayton for River City. And then also both of us. We can answer any questions you need or concerns you have.
Exactly. And so real quick, we're excited not only about combining the two grades this year, but we're excited about the new venue that we're going to.
It's going to be awesome.
It's called Keystone Camp, and it's not too far away from Lake Swan, but also North Florida Christian Camp, where we had our winter retreat last year or the last few years. But this facility that we're going to be going to this year is amazing. It is a nice facility, from the dining hall being very new to the worship center that has so many amenities, so many more amenities what we've been used to over the past few years. The dorms are so nice, and the way they're set up, where we're not packing 60, 70 students in one dorm and then making you in charge of those 60, 70 students in one dormitory, where it's going to be broken out, and you're going to be basically staying with your small group all week long or all weekend long at this campground. And so there's a lot of other things too.
They've got basketball courts, sand volleyball courts, tennis courts, a little putt area. They had paintball you could sign up for, high ropes course you could sign up for, 2 huge open fields, a full baseball field. So just a ton of space for our students to be able to spread out with a lot more kids there. I know a lot of people have been worried about feeling cramped and feeling like there's too many kids, or the high school kids are stepping over on the middle school kids' toes. It won't be like that. There'll be a ton of space to help with some of that. If you saw our parent meeting that we did the other week on Facebook Live, you heard the way our schedule's broken out. We have the basketball courts, the volleyball courts, all those things that we know a lot of kids are going to want to play. We have those scheduled out specific times for middle school so that middle school can have their time on the basketball courts, their time on the sand volleyball courts, and have that with their students and their small groups. And we have time scheduled for high school as well, so that everyone will get a chance to play, will get a chance to have it in their time with their students and their teams that they want to play with. So just a lot of great things.
And they even have Snack Shack available too throughout the day
yep.
that camp managers run, and they have everything pretty much the kids will want for snack time.
Yeah.
And so this is just a all around better campground. So many more amenities. It's gonna be a phenomenal weekend. And with that being said, also I just wanted to touch quickly on if you would please do this. We're gonna include the camp website in the email that we send out, or even in the comments that we send out with this video. But go to the camp website, check out the videos, check out the map. There's a map on there that you can look and be a little more familiar with the campground. And also, you'll be able to see the address as well of the campground, so you know how to get there. So that's important.
Another thing just to add, we've had some questions about dorming. We've had some questions about things like that. In past years, some of the places that we've been to, the dorming varies pretty drastically depending on where you're staying at the camp. Another nice thing about this camp is every single cabin that we will be using is set up the exact same. There's not a single thing different except maybe a bunk bed here or a bunk bed there between the cabins. So if you're worried about that, if you're wondering about that, everyone will have the exact same lodging dorm situation set up. So if there's nothing to worry about there, it'll all be the exact same. There's no special cabin here or special cabin there.
Well, and here's the cool thing too is you volunteers, you're going to have your own living space. You're gonna have your own sleeping space. You don't have to be out on the main. The way the cabins are set up is there's 12 bunks out there for students, and there's no top bunk. It's just all single beds, and they have their own cubbies for all to put all their stuff in. And you guys have a completely separate room that has kind of a is it a one-way mirror or one-way window in it, and so you guys will be able to sleep in your own beds and yet actually probably get some sleep during the night.
But also be able to watch all your students, see all your students out there.
Not in
I know some of you guys, I know some of you guys have been asking, can we stay out with our students? If you want to stay out in the same room as your students and you want to use that time,
you're done.
By all means, go for it. Go for it. I mean, if you don't want to sleep, you don't want to sleep, that's fine. No, but it's going to be awesome. It'll be great. Great amenities, great facility. Really excited for this new camp. Really excited to be able to partner with them. And really excited that you guys are jumping on board and being able to support this and encourage us and champion it along this year.
So let's jump into the weekend schedule before we get into a little more small group details. We have a great schedule set up, and Justin kind of alluded to a little bit of how it's going to work. There's going to be some high school specific things in the schedule, some middle school specific things in the schedule. So let's run through the schedule real quick, but also let them know what time we would love to have them out there.
Yes. So I'll hit this real briefly. I'll hit a couple of the key things, and then this will be attached to everything we send out. I want to keep this video as short as we can. So arrival time for you guys. We've had a lot of questions about this. If you could be at Camp Keystone by 4 p.m., that would be absolutely amazing.
That'd be awesome.
We would love for you guys to be there. You're going to be a part of the check-in process. So that's why we're asking you to be there early. We want you to be able to get situated, set up, go park your cars, be set up at your cabin, ready to welcome students and check them in. A lot of you guys that were at middle school camp, you kind of know what that experience was like. We had a sheet for you that you checked off. Yes, my student's here. Yes, they've dropped off medications or have dropped medications to drop off. And then there's also a separate side of that that's my student is checked out and has been picked up by their parent. So the reason we like to do that is because it gives you FaceTime with your parents. It allows the parents to go up to the cabin, see where their student is staying, and meet you, which is the most important thing. The parents have seen us. The parents know who we are, but they want to know who's going to be talking to their student all weekend. They want to know who's going to be spending all this time with their student all weekend. And so it gives you an awesome opportunity to take a minute, talk to parents, meet them, have some FaceTime with them, and just simply ask them, hey, is there anything I should know about your student? and that will give you an opportunity to hear a little bit about that student. Maybe it's a student that you don't know, maybe it's a student you haven't had before, but we'll give you the chance to build a little bit of relationship with them and get a little background on who's going to be in your cabin.
Yeah.
So that's why we love doing that. That's why we are asking for you to be out there at 4 o'clock, is so you can get there early, get set up, get situated, and be ready for those students.
Exactly.
Jumping straight into the schedule, again, going kind of quick, but feel free to rewind, pause, whatever you need to do. This will be attached to everything, so if you're watching this right now, you should be able to open this up and you can follow along and just listen to this as we go, or you can just keep watching. So one of the things that we're doing kind of a little different this year, because we have middle and high together at the same camp, is we are separating out these sessions. So middle school will have a message session, and high school will have a message session, but we will all have one worship session. So I know that sounds a little crazy. Let me explain. For example, on Friday night when we get there, the middle school message session will start at 8 p.m. So they will go into the main worship area at 8 p.m. We'll have a quick game for them, kind of get them ready to go, get them brought in, get them settled down. We'll have a game, and then we will jump straight into our message for middle school. While middle school is in that session, high school will be in their quiet time. They'll have a booklet that will walk them through a quiet time, scripture to read, a few questions to answer. So they'll be in that quiet time while middle school is in their message time. We'll have a quick, brief intermission. High school will come in and join us. We'll have an awesome worship session with everybody in there, combined together, bring as much energy in and as many students in as we can to help build that. Excited for our high school students to lead us in that and model for our middle school students what worship looks like. They do an awesome job with that on the weekend for our adult programming, so excited for that. After worship, we'll have another, we'll really just have a dismiss time. When high school students go back to sit down, we'll dismiss middle school students right out the back, similar really to what we've been doing on Wednesday nights. And that's worked really smoothly. So we're just going to dismiss students, middle school students straight out. Middle school students will then go to their quiet time, and high school will move into their message time.
So which means at the end, both middle school and high school will be doing the small groups at the same time. So it's going to work beautifully. Yeah. And so that's how it's going to work for every main session that we have, session 1 through 4. There'll be 4 main sessions. And then later that night, we'll have some free time, and then we'll be in bed. And let's just put it this way, just to make this video shorter than, to make it short, not make so long. Our retreat schedule is pretty much up the same way we've done retreats the last few years. Yeah. The only thing is what Justin just said, is that in order to make the middle school, high school thing work, that's how we're going to.
And again, we just want to be able to speak to those specific age groups as intentionally as we can and be as specific as we can with those age groups and give them the content that they need. And in order to do that, we wanted to split it up. And I think you guys would all agree that it's probably better to have them separated as well.
Exactly.
So that's really the only difference.
Yeah, the only other difference would be, and I think you alluded to it earlier, was the free time the next day as far as getting everyone through paintball or even through high ropes. You want to run through that real quick? Yeah,
just real quick. Essentially what we're doing is scheduling a time for high school to be at high ropes, and while high school is at high ropes, middle school will be at paintball, and they'll switch. That's really it. The same thing will go with the basketball court and the volleyball court. We know those are 2 areas that a lot of our students are going to want to play sand volleyball and want to play basketball. And so to make sure all of our high school students can play and all of our middle school students can play with those specific groups and their small groups, we've scheduled out times for middle school to be at the basketball courts and high school to be at the volleyball courts. Those times are on here. You can run through them and look at them.
Please look over the schedule, be familiar with it. You'll have a schedule in your folder, which is where we're going next. So.
And just real quick, if we can, please help us stick to that schedule. We've created that on purpose. We've created that for a purpose, but it will not work unless we have your guys' support and help managing that. We know that we're going to have some high school kids that want to play basketball all day long, and love that they're excited for that, love that they love basketball. We love basketball too, but we want to allow everybody to be able to have a chance to play basketball and use those courts.
Yep.
So please help us with that. Please, if you're high school students trying to go play basketball during a middle school time, or your middle school students trying to go play basketball during a high school time, just ask them to wait a little bit. There'll be some times throughout winter retreat where everyone can just go play and it's free for all.
Yeah.
But during those specific times, please help us manage that as best as we
Encourage
can.
students to be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there.
Yep.
Please. Thank you.
All right, moving along.
Moving on to folders. We will, Justin and I, or your campus student pastor, will get you a folder. Probably when you guys show up though at the retreat. And so in this folder, and we might possibly even via email send out some of these things, so you can go ahead and look them over. That way you're not just getting to the retreat.
Really, a lot of it will probably be in the email. We'll send out small group questions early too, so you can look over that.
Exactly. So we will send it out via email, but we want you to know you will have a folder when you show up to the retreat on Friday, January the 4th. We'll give you a folder, and in that folder will be small group questions for each of the 4 sessions. And so expect those to be in there. Also, a small group roster. So basically, all the students that are going to be with you the entire weekend and staying in your dorm, your cabin, whatever. And that'll help you keep track of where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there. And also, if you're missing some kids during small group time, you know who's in your group. So we'll give you a roster of kids or students that we want you to shepherd this weekend. And a lot of them are already kids that you're in your small group. So it's going to work out very beautifully. Also, there'll be a map in your folder of the entire campground, just in case you don't print one off or you lose it between now and then. And we'll also have those check-in sheets. And again, we will communicate. We'll put it into Word, into a document where we explain a little more in detail the check-in, check-out process. Justin talked about it a few minutes ago, but we'll put it into writing so you can read over what your job, what your role is on getting students checked in and check out. So you'll have a check-in sheet and a check-out sheet.
Those check-in, check-out sheets are super important. So as soon as you get those, you've got your own room, you've got your own area set up in your cabin. So if you can just put those somewhere where you know you're not going to lose it, we'll have you turn them into us once check-in is done and once check-out is done at the end of the weekend.
Another helpful thing we'll probably put in the folder too is if your student has any sort of allergy and if they have some sort of medication they're supposed to take, that might be helpful for you to remind your students they need to visit the nurse and get their medicines.
Yeah, we'll have that on your small group rosters, as well as parent contact information will be on those small group rosters.
That's important
as well.
Thing to note too as well.
Yeah, and want to have easy access to that.
Exactly. All right, so small groups, small group time. You're going to have 4 times at the least 4 scheduled times for you to meet with your group of students that you're going to be shepherding and taking care of this weekend. And in that folder, we'll have 4 different discussion guides, 1 for each main session. And so we'll keep it simple for you guys, very bullet pointed. Work your way through the questions. But we did want to we wanted to take just a couple minutes just to talk about, give you a few tips on leading discussion. And so here's some things that we have noticed in the past from our retreats, from you guys leading small group discussion. One thing that we want you guys to keep in mind is pick the right setting for your group to meet. Don't pick a distracting place to meet. Pick a smart place, even if it's in your cabin. Meet in your cabin, but don't let students meet all over the place in your cabin. Keep it close, keep it together. Don't allow students to lay down. Guys, just be smart in the how you're having your discussion.
And it may be different for some groups. Some groups may be able to meet in their cabin, and that's the least distracting place. I know I've led small groups that the boys just can't meet in the cabin because they're trying to rifle through their bags. They're getting their snacks. They're getting their toys. They want to lay down on their bunks. They want to go do something else in the cabin. Like, sometimes that's not the best place. So try and get to know your group that first night. Kind of feel it out that first night. What might be the best place? What might be the least distracting? Probably anywhere near games or basketball courts. Probably not going to be good for the boys. The game room's definitely not going to be a good area for them. Just kind of think through those things. What's going to be an area that will have the least distractions for this group of students that we can stay focused the most?
Yeah. Another good tip too is don't ask questions that have right or wrong answers. What I mean by that is keep your questions to have open-ended answers. Or what I mean by that is this. So say you're doing a study on David and Jonathan, okay? And David and Jonathan's friendship. Ask questions that are going to get them talking. Like, what does this story of David and Jonathan teach you about friendship? So that's a perfect question to ask them right there. What does this story teach you about friendship? And have the students answer any way that they feel like that this story teaches them about friendship.
And that leads into our next big tip, which is please don't preach. Unfortunately, they're going to be sitting and listening to us for 20 to 25 minutes right before your small group. So they're going to be hearing teaching. They're going to be hearing someone preach at them. To go straight from that into a small group where they now have to hear somebody else preach at them for 30 minutes to an hour can be really, really destructive for their learning process at the winter retreat. Allow them to talk. This small group time is for them. It's for them to share. It's for them to talk. It's for them to express what this scripture meant to them or what that message brought up for them. Allow them to have that opportunity to talk. They should be talking more than you as the leaders are talking.
Let them process through those questions. And this is this is not a lecture. It's not a lecture. It's them processing what they're learning and what they've been challenged with during the large group time. So don't preach. Don't preach. It's okay too to use humor. Please, by all means. There's times where it's okay just to laugh as a group. Just as much as there's time to be serious about it.
As much as it's important to be serious and dive into the scripture, it's just as important for that small group time to be fun, for them to enjoy it, especially for those of you that are middle school leaders. Middle school students love to have fun. Now you have to manage that. You have to make sure it's not all fun. But if there's no fun involved, they probably won't learn as much. A lot of times students learn by having fun. They have these great experiences and they're excited and it makes it memorable for them. And so we want those small group times to be memorable. We want them to remember the things they talked about, remember the things they joked about and laughed about, and be able to take those back and share them with students at their schools and in their neighborhoods.
And last but not least, I think this is more for the girl groups than the guy groups. We get it. Girl small groups, they talk more. They probably spend more time in small group time. But don't just wind down your small group discussion time. Wrap it up. Like, don't let it just drag on. Don't let you guys shouldn't be in small group for an hour. It's not been scheduled in your schedule for an hour, and so you shouldn't be in small group for an hour. If there are some conversations that you need to have one-on-one or two-on-one with another student, maybe there's something going on in their life, have that discussion outside of your small group time. So be respectful of other people's time, and also, after a while, they're just going to become bored and they're going to zone out. So
and just a couple things to clarify. Your small group time is scheduled at an hour, but that scheduling is meant for you to be able to have that conversation and then have some group time outside of just a serious small group conversation. So that hour is not meant to be all small group driven where you're talking about this scripture or whatever. That's meant for you to just spend time with your group for that time.
Exactly.
And then one other thing just to touch on, I know we say this all the time, we talk about it every time we have a winter retreat or a camp, but in your small groups, at winter retreats, at camps, at events like this, a lot of times it spurs up emotions, it spurs up students to talk about things that they wouldn't normally talk about on a Sunday morning. And sometimes those things can be pretty heavy subjects, abuse, neglect, things like that. Something that happened with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, something that's going on at home. And so we just want to remind you guys, if those things come up in your small group, try and have that conversation in a one-on-one setting. We want to protect that student. We want to protect their privacy. And so if they bring that up in the middle of their small group, try not to allow them to open that whole thing up to their entire small group.
Exactly.
We want you to be able to manage that conversation and have that conversation in a one-on-one setting. And we also want you to be able to have support if you need it. If you want one of us to help have that conversation, another leader to help have that conversation, that's what we're there for.
And I will say this: if a student does come up to you and talk about abuse or suicide, you have to tell us too. Okay, don't let that conversation stay between you and the student. Please notify us. Let us know.
Yeah, those 3 reports, mandatory reports, are if they're hurting themselves, if they're being hurt by somebody, or if they're thinking about hurting somebody else. Any of those 3 we have to know about. It doesn't mean don't tell us about other stuff. If you've got something that's going on with a student and you think one of us should be aware, if you're thinking about it, if you have to question it, or if you have to think about it a little bit, just let us know. We'd love to be in the loop. We'd love to know what's going on with our students. They know that not everything is confidential, and you should let them know at the beginning of the weekend, hey, we want to be as open and honest as we can, but know that there's things that you will share with us that I have to share with our leaders and with other people, and then we have to also report to other people.
Exactly. That is those are some small group tips, some things we just wanted to pass along to you guys before going into this weekend. We're moving on to rules. You guys can read most of the rules that we're going to have for our retreat. I do want to hit on 2 things, and if Justin has anything else that he wants to add to this, he can. Number 1, phones. We are okay with students bringing phones out. However, if it does become an issue where it's like they're always on their phone and they keep saying, I'm just on my Bible app, like they're probably not, okay? Let's just be honest. So if phones become a problem, you have every right just to say, hey, you know what? We're going to put our phones away or put them back in the dorm. Or some of our smart leaders have like a phone bin where it's like, hey, everyone put your phone in this bag or this bin. If phones become a problem, we can probably confiscate them and take them away. But we don't want phones to be an issue or be a barrier between what God has for these students this weekend. It gives us a chance to unplug and to get away from the things that they're normally in. That's what this retreat is for.
And we've asked them, we've let them know to bring a paperback Bible. So during your small group time and during the sessions, there should not be any phones out. Right. High school, middle school, anybody, they should not have a phone out. They should have their paperback Bible that they can bring with them. I would recommend if they didn't bring one with them, have them share with somebody else before you let them use their phone. Allow that time to be completely phone free in session in your small groups. At least those 2 areas should be completely phone free and use paper.
I'm kind of hoping too, I don't know how signal is out there, but I'm hoping the signal is really horrible out there outside of Wi-Fi. So hopefully that will solve some of our issues. The other thing I just want to hit on real quick as far as rules, we will have high school students driving out there, and I just wanted you to know that we will be taking their keys away. They are not allowed to have their keys once they get there. We will take their keys and then give their keys back to them when we get ready to check out, when we get ready to leave on Sunday. And so just so you know, no high school student should have keys to their car once they get there. Any other rules you want to hit on?
I'm good.
Okay. We got a couple more things, and then we'll let you go. But the next thing is there is a nurse this year that actually works for the camp. And so they will supply us with a nurse 24/7, which is awesome. It gives us kind of peace of mind knowing that they have a nurse out there 24/7. This nurse will also be in charge of handing out meds. When you get there, or as you look at the map, be familiar with where the nurse's station is. It's pretty central in the camp, but just make sure you know where the nurse station is. And so that'll be for some of you. That'll be an important thing to know. As far as stuff to bring, you can read again a packing list. I do want you to know what the camp has in order so you know what to pack for. They are twin beds, and so bring a twin sheet.
I believe it's Twin XL.
Twin XL, thank you,
Either way, I bring Twin XL just so you know it fits.
So bring twin sheets. Don't forget, you may want to bring like a sleeping bag too with your sheets, and don't forget your pillow. Sometimes people forget their pillows. And don't forget your toothbrush. That's another thing that's often forgotten. So make sure you have good breath and you have something good to sleep on. But you can read, but I just want you to know what the bed situation was for our retreat. So
pretty typical camp experience. I mean, what you've brought before for winter retreats and summer camps.
Exactly.
Bring the same stuff.
Exactly. Bring the same stuff. And I usually pack 2 clothes per day. Is what I usually what I do for. So wrapping up real quick. I know this has been kind of a long video, but I'm hoping that it's been beneficial and it saved you time, and you can just watch this video on your own. But guys, we can't say thank you enough for giving up a weekend to spend with us, but also to spend, more importantly, shepherding and discipling students. And so, we talked about, what to bring, and our prayer is that you bring a heart and you bring eyes and a mind that is willing and open to loving on students. And this weekend is about them and what God has for them. So we just thank you for your sacrifice and for giving up your weekend to be with us. But we want you to know too that please, this weekend is for students. And so we cannot wait to go out there with you guys and to realize and see these students realize what it is that God wants them to do and what he wants for them in their lives. So anything else you want to add?
I think we're good. It's going to be an awesome weekend. Again, thank you for supporting in this and encouraging and giving up your time to be with these students and help us lead this students ministry. We could not possibly even remotely be able to do this without you and without all the time that you give to the students ministry, both high school and middle school. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and we will include an email and other things to go along with this video. And we will also have a GroupMe app separately for us to communicate when we're out at the retreat. So looking forward to it. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks.